I am the first presenter for this group presentation assignment. For my part, I will explain the objective of this slide. First, understand the meaning of corruption. To clearly define corruption as the abuse of entrusted power for personal gain. 2. Identify different forms of corruption. To recognize various types like bribery, fraud, nepotism, and abuse of power. 3. Examine factors contributing to corruption. To understand causes such as weak accountability, complex rules, and excessive power. 4. Explain strategies to combat corruption in Malaysia. To introduce national plans like NACP and NACS that strengthen transparency and governance. 5. Encourage collective responsibility in fighting corruption. To promote awareness, integrity, and cooperation among citizens and institutions to eliminate corruption.
So it is my pleasure to give an introduction about the corruption. So we started with a define. Corruption defined is the abuse of entrusted power for personal gain. So everything about abuse of entrusted power for personal gain, we call it corruption. So as a second presenter for introduction, I will give a short information and short story about the um, corruption cases in Malaysia. For our information, in Malaysia there has a lot of corruption cases. For example, I choose the 1MDB scandal did by Datuk Seri Najib Razak. So I will explain a little bit about this scandal. The 1MDB scandal involved a government investment fund called One Malaysia Development Berhad or 1MDB. The fund was created to support national development, but instead a large amount of money was misused or stolen. Former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Razak was found guilty for offence related to SRC International, a company connected to 1MDB. This scandal became widely known around the world. We continue with the effects of corruption in Malaysia. So basically corruption leave a negative effect for citizen and also the latest government. For example, give a bad reputation. Corruption makes Malaysia look unreliable to other countries. The 1MDB scandal received a global attention, damaging Malaysia's international image and making foreign investors more cautious. Increase in national debt. Because so much money was lost, the government had to pay back many of 1MDB's debts. This added extra financial burden and increased Malaysia's overall debt. With that, we know that the bad effect of corruption and the short story of the corruption. Thank you.
The definition of corruption. Corruption is the act of giving or receiving any gratification or reward, whether in the form of cash or valuable items, in exchange for performing a task related to one's job description. It involves an abuse of power or position, where a person accepts benefit that influence their decision or action in a way that is dishonest or against ethical standard. This actually not only violates professional responsibility, but also undermines fairness and integrity within an organization or institution. Such unethical behavior frequently fosters an atmosphere in which self-interest takes precedence over responsibility, duty, and the general welfare. Trust is weakened, and opportunities for more unethical behavior are created when people accept reward or gratification for performing tasks for which they are already accountable. Corruption has the ability to permeate a system over time, making it challenging to maintain professionalism, openness, and sound governance.
Talking about corruption, not just what it is, but the different form it takes and what causes it. Corruption can show up in many ways: bribery, fraud, embezzlement, nepotism, or misuse of public resources. Some, like fraud or embezzlement, can be done by one person. Others, like bribery or influence peddling, usually involve secret deals between two or more people. It isn't always obvious. It often happens quietly, inside a system of power. Why does corruption happen? There isn't just one reason. It can come from personal greed, weak organizations, or social pressures. Unclear rules, too many rules, or giving officials too much control can open the door. Without strong check or consequences, bad behavior can continue unchecked. By understanding its form and causes, we can start thinking about ways to prevent corruption and make system more just for everyone.
For my part, I will be explaining the strategies that Malaysia has implemented to combat corruption. In 2019, the National Centre for Governance, Integrity and Anti-Corruption, or GIACC, introduced the National Anti-Corruption Plan, also known as the NACP. The purpose of this plan was to address major issues in Malaysia such as corruption, weak governance, and the lack of integrity across institutions over a 5-year period. The NACP focused on 3 main strategies to create a corruption-free society, which are strengthening accountability and credibility of the judiciary, prosecution, and law enforcement agencies. The second one being improving efficiency and responsiveness in public service delivery, and lastly, enhancing integrity in business to reduce unethical practices in the private sector. In 2024, the plan was strengthened and replaced by the National Anti-Corruption Strategy, or NACS, which was launched by Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. The goal of NACS is to improve and refocus Malaysia's anti-corruption efforts under the Malaysia Madani framework. The NACS introduces a more structured framework that includes national aspirations, a clear vision and mission, and several strategic thrusts. Overall, the main goal of these strategies is to build a sustainable and trustworthy Malaysia, one where the relationship between government and the people is based on transparency, integrity, and mutual respect. Through these long-term plans, Malaysia aims to strengthen its institutions and create a society that rejects corruption at all levels.
With that being said, the ongoing against corruption in Malaysia should be emphasized the need for concerted effort from stakeholders. As a police or somebody who is in charge to investigate the whole politicians, business partner and society should be transparency, integrity and accountability in order to reduce the state of corruption in Malaysia. By focusing on the integrity, our country can actually gain more attention by the whole world and also have a long-term development. A corruption society free is not easy. It needs long-term commitment, collective willpower and zero tolerance towards the criminal. No nepotism and favoritism input somewhere in sentences. But through education, awareness, action, we actually can create a safe country where honesty is rewarded and corruption has no safe place. On the other hand, Malaysia also will get recognized by the whole world because not having a corruption case throughout the year. By tackling the root of the causes corruption, Malaysia can create a bright future by fairness and transparency. With integrity is practiced in life, we can build trust, enhancing reputation and create connection with another country that will give us a lot of benefit in future. Also, we will respect the fundamental human right and freedom. Last but not least, our vision to combat corruption is not only to promote transparency or integrity, but also to shaping the destiny of Malaysia for the next generation to come. So this is the ending of our presentation. Thank you.